we all have to change our belief systems and understand the capacity that God has given each one of us to do and to change and to make things better. That's not just the oath I take. When you're a citizen of this country, there are certain standards that we need to have, certain expectations we need to have. You know, I went to law school, and I may have told some of you this before. I went to law school for one reason. My mother and my grandmother nagged me to death until I would go to law school. To where it actually became easier to go to law school than it would be to live with them the rest of my life had it not gone. But there was an expectation of me to get good grades, to work hard, make something of myself. There was an expectation. And kids and students and citizens meet the level of expectations that are set for them. They always do. At some point, they meet it. Those are the successful kids, businesses, students, universities that succeed because you have a high level of expectation. So we need to demand that. Whether it's the state house, or the courthouse, or the local governmental agency, we all need to demand that. And so now what do? We're in uncharted waters. We're getting rid of our old belief systems, changing, and making sure we know how to move forward. So what do? Here's my thumbnail sketch of what I think we need to do. And I think a big part of it started in the first 100 hours of the Congress this year. In the first 100 hours, the new Democratic Congress passed the minimum wage bill to raise it to $7.25 an hour. This is out of the House now. We've got some negotiating to do. But $7.25 an hour. We gave the ability to the Secretary of Health and Human Services to negotiate down drug prices to make sure that drug prices can be cheaper. And we cut student loan interest rates in half, from 6.8% to 3.4%. And I see a lot of young Democrats here. Sean Buchanan, who's on my staff, is here. His wife Heidi, can't forget her. Young people who have student loans, or who go to take student loans, will benefit once this is fully implemented. So right now, I think we've tried to help people today. Minimum wage, student loans, lower prescription drug prices. But then we opened up two new major sectors of our economy that we need growth in. One is we passed the stem cell research program. And that will lead to research and development long-term that will create jobs and help our citizens. And I was just up at the Cleveland Clinic yesterday. What they're doing for people with stem cells is a miracle. It's a miracle. And we need to make sure that everybody has that opportunity to experience that kind of treatment. And then the other is alternative energy. We repealed corporate welfare to about $14 billion, and we're investing that in the research and development for alternative energy sources so that we rely on the Midwest instead of the Middle East for our energy. So I think we're doing well. But we need to create a new economy. We need to create a new government in many ways. So how do we do it? I don't think we can get into the details because I think for many instances it's different depending on where you are. So what do and what's the federal government's responsibility? I believe we should stay focused on three things. We should stay focused on health, education, and character. I believe that these are the three things that we need to focus on from a federal and state level in order to maximize our opportunities in this changing economy. We need to make sure that every citizen, all of them, have access to some health care regardless of the wages that they make or their status in life. The health of your family, should not depend on the wealth of your family, because we need you. We need every citizen to be healthy and educated and have the proper character traits to lead our country. The proper character traits as well. And so we need to make sure that they're healthy. And this is going to take an investment on behalf of our country. And we need to flip our system from a disease control system to a prevention system, in which we're preventing a lot of these things from happening. And you can talk to anyone who runs any hospital anywhere in the country, regardless of where you go, they will say, I would rather give somebody an antibiotic when they come to the emergency room than see them 3 weeks later and we have to take care of them for 3 or 4 days because they have pneumonia or some other sickness. It will save us all money, we will have a more compassionate country, and we will have a healthier workforce. That's a good thing. We are now competing, and it's important to remember this, 300 million people in the United States of America. We are now competing with 1.3 billion people in China, 1 billion people in India, and really across the globe, billions of people. We only have 300 million. We have to have every single citizen in our country on the field playing for the United States of America. It's that simple. We can't afford to let a few million here, a few million there slip through the cracks. I'm not saying everyone has to be a PhD. We need trained professionals. We need people in the trades. But we are now competing at a level that we can't even fathom. Can't even fathom. And so we need to make sure that every citizen has some basic health care in order to make that so. The next is education. We are running an education system today that is not achieving the results that we need. In math and science, in healthcare fields, we're not getting the results that we need. And you have to create a system of education that is going to prepare our kids for this brutally global economy, brutally competitive global economy. It's that important. And Jefferson's whole idea of educating the populace was not so much, it was an agrarian age, it wasn't so much for economic reasons as it was to have educated citizens running your government, participating in an educated way, helping the government solve problems, enlightening the people generally, as he said. We need a basic level of intelligence in order to function and govern ourselves. And that's what we're doing, is we're governing ourselves. I think we need to look into new ways of doing things. We have a lot of kids who qualify for the S-CHIP program, State Children's Health Insurance Program, that don't even sign up. Medicaid, they don't even sign up because they don't know. And well, where are the kids? They're in the schools. So why don't we put clinics in our schools and make sure that every kid has a basic level of health care right at the school, and they qualify and get registered for these programs that they qualify for. And that brings more money into the schools. But what it also does, tied to the health care curriculum and the phys ed curriculum, but what it also does, and this is where government just has to, every dollar we spend has to be maximized. It can't be just spend it and get one result. I want to spend it and get 3 or 4 or 5 different results and impact with the money you spend. People work hard to send their money to us. Let's maximize it. But what you also get with a student health care center in the schools is you get doctors and nurses walking around the school. You got new role models for kids, not just coaches and teachers, but doctors and nurses and dentists. Now obviously this is going to cost, but what's it cost not to do it? What's it cost not to do it? I think we need to look into the arts as a major component of developing our young people. The ties between music and math and science scores is unbelievable. Music is math. So it would only make sense that if you understand music, that it will improve your math scores. I'm not saying this because it needs to be some big liberal tree hugger. Everybody needs to participate in the arts and it feels good. It's culture. It's civilization. It's a good thing. We don't have to be ashamed to admit it, but it has practical value as to our competitive advantage in the global marketplace. Now, who could do that?